Consultation. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. O John, you have been greatly honored by Allah and exalted above all your forefathers in glory. It is fitting that you should render unto Him the greatest thanks in your power. A heart established on well-advised counsel will not be afraid in time of danger. You stand in need to be nourished by the holy prophets, for to them alone Almighty Allah has given discreet counsel and faith, and an excellent understanding in their hearts. They give not themselves to vain deceits, nor honor the works of men's hands. You seek to know what is hidden, that they may stay themselves upon the name of Allah, the Lord of spirits, and the Lord of all flesh. These are the measures which shall be given, that they may return to the word of Allah, in the spirit of faith, in the spirit of wisdom, and in the spirit of mercy and judgment and peace. They shall see and recognize that our Lord is true in all His works, His judgments, and His justice. Come, for you, the stones of the field and the beasts of the field shall be at peace. They all with one voice speak and bless and glorify and extol and sanctify Allah, the name of the Lord of spirits. They keep faith with each other in accordance with the oath by which they are bound together, and they give thanks and praise in the name of His righteousness. There is a special place set apart for them to rest in. Come, take counsel with them and give heed to their counsel, for in this way your open-handedness, which was empowered by Allah to save vast multitudes, will be made clearer and more manifest. O blessed of the Lord, why do you stand outside? The council waits for you. Enter. You are welcome. This is what the Lord promised us. Praise be Allah, who has delighted in you and set you on the throne, that you may execute justice and righteousness. All our regulations have been drawn up with a view to righteousness, nothing thoughtlessly or without due reason. Its purpose is to enable us to practice righteousness before all men, being mindful of Almighty Allah, and aims at righteousness and righteous relationships between man, and not be under the influence of an arrogant self-consciousness. All men are appointed by Allah to share the greatest evil as well as the greatest good. It is impossible for man to be exempt from this. Adam, therefore, is not the cause, save only of his own soul. Judgment shall be taken upon those who do wickedness according to their wickedness, and the faithful according to their faithfulness. To those who believe, the promise of their reward, and to those who deny, the torment of fire is reserved for them. Many will be delighted when they hear, and will be saved. You must become a leader to them as it befits you. You observe that there is only one God, Allah, and that His power is manifest throughout the universe. None of the things wrought in secret by men upon the earth escapes His knowledge. All that a man does, and all that is to come to pass in the future, are manifest to him. It is Allah who is the author of all good things, and Him man must needs obey. You must always remember that Allah is a lover of truth. Allah too is a lover of justice. What is hateful to yourself, do not to your fellow man. Allah has bestowed upon you a royal authority, and what Allah gives, you must take and keep. No man is king by his own power. It is the gift of Allah. Call upon Allah continually, for He rules the minds of all men. Is wisdom capable of being taught? The fear of the Lord, that is wisdom, and to depart from evil is understanding. Wisdom and insight and discernment of the law comes from Allah. It is not possible to acquire this unless Allah creates a disposition towards it. If there is no discernment, there is no knowledge, and if there is no knowledge, there is no wisdom, and if there is no wisdom, there is no fear and understanding. Remember, all knowledge is useful. It enables you, by the help of Allah, to select some of the things you have learned and apply them to the crisis which confronts you. Deliberate well in reference to any question that emerges, and never be carried away by impulses. Act rightly, practicing moderation by being fair to all men. We consider that we ourselves are afflicted by the misfortunes that fall upon others. Their sufferings become our own. It is only when such feeling is shown that we will win honor and esteem in their eyes. It is necessary to recognize that Allah rules the whole world in the spirit of kindness, and you must of necessity copy His example, for it is the deeds that are wrought in righteousness that abide continually. Pride was not created for man. The beginning of men's pride is to depart from the Lord. It is sin, and the man that clings to it pours out abominations. We strive to deal fairly with all men according to the demands of justice and piety. The throne of the proud Allah overthrows. The roots of the proud He sweeps away. Those who give the lie to our messages and scorn them in their pride, they shall not enter paradise any more than a twisted rope can pass through a needle's eye. The rich, the eminent, the nobleman, and the judge, none of them is greater than the man who fears the Lord. What race is worthy of honor? The human race, for there are many nations and many people, and all are His. But the unbelievers are steeped in self-glory and separatism because of false pride. A despicable race is that which transgresses the commandments. The hearts of those who do not believe in the life to come refuse to admit this. Evil indeed shall be the state of all that are given to false pride. How can a man keep himself from pride? If he maintains equality and remembers on all occasions that Allah brings the proud to naught and exalts the meek and the humble, those who have been tested in many affairs and maintain unmingled goodwill. When pride and unbounded self-confidence hold sway, dishonor and loss of reputation are engendered. Those watching for their own gain are traitors at heart. Do not walk arrogantly on earth, for verily Allah does not love anyone who out of self-conceit acts in a boastful manner. Bear in mind the love of Him who created us, who loved us from old and never hated us, but above all educated us. Let all the things aforesaid be always before your eyes. He has shown us that which is to be, and has not concealed from us what will befall in the end. The advent of the times is very short. The pitcher is near the cistern, the ship to the port, and life to its consummation. Allah, by His power, brings all this to fulfillment. The books of the law do not represent the original text. It is necessary that they should be made accurate and free from all blemish. You it is who will preach through us. Therefore strengthen yourself and consider well what you have to do, that Allah might preserve your kingdom in peace and honor, and that the translation of the holy law might be carried out successfully in the presence of all the people. The help of Allah makes you care for these things, to reading and the study of the records with a view to the reformation and preservation which has never been approached by others. Watch and set forth before one's eyes scenes taken from life, for even some desirable lesson is taught by the most insignificant affairs of life. Care and forethought are placed by the help of Allah who inspires you, and by it evil is destroyed. Notice carefully the speaker, possess an alert mind, and be able to form sound judgment, and be careful over a light precept as over a weighty. Reckon the loss involved in a precept against its reward. Take no credit to yourself, for unto this you were created by Allah. He is gracious and merciful and full of compassion, who is master of your work. If all the wise of Israel were on one scale of the balance, He would weigh them all down. Isaiah. All you inhabitants of the world, hear whom the Lord of hosts has blessed. John, the mountain of the Lord. What I have heard from the Lord, I announce to you. On this mountain the Lord will make for all people a feast, and He will destroy on this mountain the covering that was cast over all the peoples. For the hand of the Lord will rest upon this mountain, and the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon Him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, and the Spirit of knowledge and fear of Allah. All things will be revealed to the children of men, which ever had been among the children of men, and which ever will be. I foresaw this by the Holy Spirit and wrote. And it shall come to pass that Allah shall bring forth to you the words of a book. The book shall be delivered to him that is not learned, and he shall deliver the words of the book, and he shall deliver the words to another, and he to another. And in the book shall be revelation from Allah, but the words that are sealed He will not deliver because of pride, and because of false teachers and false doctrine. The revelation which was sealed should be kept in the book unto the own due time of the Lord, and at that time it should be read by the power of Christ. This power can proceed from none but Allah, and there is no other which shall view it. At that day, when the book shall be delivered to the man of whom I have spoken, then Allah will proceed to bring forth the words of the book. And it will come to pass that the Lord shall say to him to whom he shall deliver the book, You shall read the words that I shall give you. When you have read the words that I have commanded you, and have obtained the witnesses that I have promised you, I will show the world that I am the same, yesterday, today, and forever. This is what I prophesied when I was still living, and the scribes have hidden them. The ungodly, by their hands and words, reasoning not aright, said within themselves, He professes to have knowledge of Allah, and names himself a servant of the Lord, and has become to us a reproof of our thoughts. He abstains from all our ways, and the latter end of the righteous he calls happy. Let us see if his words are true. If it is sealed, let us crown ourselves before they wither. Let our strength be to us a law of righteousness, and oppress the righteous. Therefore the wisdom of their wise men shall perish, and those who err in spirit will come to understanding. In that day the deaf shall hear the words of the book, and out of their gloom and darkness the eyes of the blind shall see. For Allah is the God of justice, and he does not call back his words. For the king it is made ready. When the Lord stretches out his hand, he will protect and deliver it. The Lord will speak to the people and fill the whole world with fruit, measure by measure, precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. You scoffers, give ear, for he is guided aright. Who taught him the path of justice, and taught him knowledge, and showed him the way of understanding? Allah teaches him. This is the word that the Lord has spoken concerning him, against whom you have raised your voice. I planned from days of old what now I bring to pass. Behold my servant, whom I uphold, my chosen. I have put my spirit upon him, and he will bring forth justice to the nations. He will not fail or be discouraged till he has established justice in the earth. For a long time I have held my peace. The deaf shall hear the words of the book, that it may be for the time to come, as a witness forever, and that you may know to believe me and understand that I am Allah. I work, and who can hinder it? It springs forth, and do you not perceive it? I am the Lord, who frustrates the omens of liars and makes their knowledge foolish. All of them are put to shame and confounded. I, the Lord, speak the truth. My counsel shall stand, and I will accomplish all my purpose. Assemble all of you and hear. I have spoken and called him who leads you in the way you should go, that my salvation may reach to the end of the earth. Now therefore do not scoff. He will cut down the thickets of the forest with an axe, and the Spirit of the Lord will rest upon him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and fear of the Lord. And there will be a highway for the remnant of his people, for the Lord has spoken, and he does not call back his words. Incline your ears and listen. Open your eyes and see. The glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken. Its time is at hand, and its days will not be prolonged, for the Lord has proposed, and who will annul it? There is no restraint any more. It will not be stored or hoarded, for the Lord has spoken this word. Plans formed of old, faithful and sure. Moses. O John, I am one of the 4 beasts whom Allah created, that I should be a mediator of his covenant, with Jesus being the 2nd, and Muhammad the 3rd. And we are all in this beyond a doubt, being the first of those who submit. You are the 4th that has come, so that the whole earth may be refreshed and relieved, and may hope for the judgment and mercy of him who made it. Take what we have given you firmly, and hold fast to what we have given you. We will testify against the wicked, whose end shall be accursed. As it is written, you are like unto me. For Allah led you safe through the sea, as if it had been dry land, brought you out of Egypt, led you out of hard slavery, nourished you in the wilderness, and gave you the law. Are not these things an argument? Declare to my people their evil deeds, and that the sins of their parents have increased in them. I said to them, the thing you are doing is not good. Ought you not to walk in the fear of Allah? How can you refuse to acknowledge Allah? They said, we will not believe in you until we see Allah face to face. Allah shall throw back their mockery on them and shall lead them blindly on in their insolence. If you shall speak all these words to them, they will not listen to you. If you shall call them, they will not answer you. This is the nation that did not obey the voice of Allah and did not accept discipline. Every prophecy have they corrupted, so that the people may not know how to comprehend the things that were said. But do with your might all that has been commanded, that you may be blameless unto Allah. What is this in your right hand? She is the virgin whom the forces did not defile. Allah directs it to all noble counsels, that no duty might be neglected. The Most High has shown you the brilliance of her glory and the loveliness of her beauty. Unfold the pages and thank Him who sent you, Allah, whose oracles these are. May He grant you the continual possession of them as long as you shall live. Because of your devotion to learning, to you has fallen the good fortune to receive the Virgin of the Lord. When you walk, she shall lead you. When you lie down, she shall watch over you. And when you awaken, she shall talk with you. She was set apart for you before the world was. Take her under your care. And when you are about to be with her, rise and pray and supplicate the Lord of heaven, so that you may be shown whatever it pleases the Most High to show you. The Lord will watch over you, and the Lord will deal mercifully with you. Those who had harmony with you, you will turn from evil and lead them to repentance. And if you take the fear of Allah as your starting point, you will never miss the goal. It is necessary to deal wisely with them, for the steersman must know the goal toward which he ought to direct his course. It is only in calling on the help of Allah that man can steer a true course of life at all times. Allah will incline your mind to all that is noble. Devote every effort to their education, that every blessing may be theirs. If you bestow benefits on all, as you continually do, Allah will give you favor with all. Jesus. All praise is due to Allah, the creator of heaven and earth and the Lord of all, who created man out of nothing. Lift your eyes to heaven and look at all there is therein, and know that Allah did not make them out of things that existed. Do not be vainly uplifted with the proud, for Allah loves true humility and hates pride. They refuse to take anything in the proper spirit and show their contempt with harshness and a pitiless heart. Have pity on me. You have erred greatly in calling me, a man, your God. It was not I who gave you the breath of life, or fashioned the elements of each. I myself am also mortal, like you all. I am sprung from one born of the earth. In the womb of a mother was I molded, and I also drew in the common air. I prayed and called upon Allah, and understanding was given me, and a spirit of wisdom. As I learned without guile, I impart without grudging. I, like my brothers, gave up body and soul for our Father's laws, calling on Allah to make you acknowledge that He alone is God. What are you waiting for? It is right that man should be subject to Allah, and not deem himself Allah's equal. You shall not escape the hands of Allah, and it is not yours to throw the burden of your sin on any living thing. We all suffer for our own sins. No sin was ever blotted out by sacrifice of animal or bird or man. Many may believe what others say, but regard not what any man has said. You must lay aside all fears, all doubts and troubled thoughts. Then you will come into a consciousness of holiness. In ancient times, the prophets were worshippers of Allah, the One. But priests and scribes with carnal aims arose, who changed the laws to suit their carnal minds, imbued with self and selfish desires. Not a gleam of light has any priest from men, and evil prospers in the dark. One verse, or one saying, or even one letter ought to show honor to him. The coming age will surely not require priests and shrines and sacrifice of life to help a man to holy life. God speed the light, the age of faith. Behold, the great key-keeper of the age stands in your midst. It is John, and I am sure John will care for you. He is the living oracle of Allah. Take heed to what this prophet has to say, for he gives forth the words that Allah has given him. Take them and read them well, for they contain the precepts and commands that men will ever need. Isaiah looked forward and saw this day. He is the Christ. The prophets told of him, and the wise men long have looked for him, and through him shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Muhammad. In the name of Allah, the most gracious and most merciful Lord of all worlds. The revelation of this book is beyond doubt from the Lord of the worlds, yet those bent on denying the truth say, He has invented it. I have heard this your doctrine, that I am the seal of the prophets. You who are cared for by Allah, why have you humiliated your soul? Cursed be the tongue that said this, with the hand that wrote it. Listen to me and believe me. My lips will not speak falsehood, and my tongue will not utter deceit. Far be it to say that you are right. You came only yesterday. Who has given them to you? I know not how to read. When Allah chose me, He gave me a book, like unto a clear mirror, which came down into my heart in such wise that all that I spoke came forth from that book. I have treasured in my bosom the words of His mouth, and all that I say for the knowledge of Allah and the service of Allah, for the knowledge of men and for the salvation of mankind. All this comes forth from that book. I have not departed from the commandments of His lips, and I made them known. John is the messenger of Allah, a bearer of good news, a warner, and the seal of the prophets. As Allah lives, in whose presence my soul stands, he who steals honor is worthy of greater punishment than he who robs a man of goods. Why have you done this? Why have you wronged me? None is righteous that does this thing, for this deed is evil in the sight of Allah. Do not do so. To him let it be given, for it is His. It is ordained and written in the heavenly tablets. Who has done this evil in my house and defiled her? Let them bring forth their witnesses to justify them. Who among them can declare this? They know not, nor do they discern. The third tongue has taken many captive, and he who listens to it shall not find rest. Many have fallen by the edge of the sword, but not as many as has fallen through the tongue. So make doors and bolts for your mouths. You make bolts for your silver and gold. O John, the Lord sent me before you to set things in order, that many people might live. Help the wronged, who walk before Allah's face and serve Him alone. In you shall the seed of Abraham become illustrious, and you shall prove to be a blessing on the earth. Be you housekeeper instead of me, and go forth and fight for our nation. They may think this order of things to be very particular, but it is only to answer the will of Allah, by conforming to the ordinance and preparation that the Lord ordained before the foundation of the world. O John, do this for us, your brothers, and let it not weary you. Turn not to the right or the left, but go a direct way, that you may preserve the command of the Mighty One. We will not keep away, but unto you we will come, since we strive to deal fairly with all men according to the demands of justice and piety, and any one of us who likes may give information about any who disobey the decree.